favorite games of the year and 100-unit locks? If so, check out the professional handicappers at WagerTalk.com today. We leave all that nonsense for the other guys. And for a limited time, new users get their first daily picks purchase up to $40 for only $1. $1? Whose idea was that? Johnny Detroit? I guess so. To redeem this special, just go to WagerTalk.com, choose a handicapper and their picks package using coupon code TRYWagerTalk when checking out.
Welcome into First Pitch for Thursday, May 13th, getaway day, but a full MLB card here. I am Drew Martin, your host, joined by Dave Koken and Brian Leonard of WagerTalk.com. Guys, great day to check out the website, and we got a lot of baseball knowledge on today's show, breaking down 4 games, Asian baseball play, best bet at the end. First up here, Dave Koken, #1 MLB handicapper at WagerTalk.com last season. Dave, welcome in. Happy Thursday morning to you.
Thank you, Drew. I want to mention a hockey special that's going on right now. I've had a really good season in the NHL, 76 units ahead. That's net. And I'm the #1 all-time earner in NHL profits at WagerTalk. The special is for 30 days of NHL playoff action. Regular price $149. If you use the coupon code DC99 at checkout, you get it for $99. So consider that. It's been a very good season, and I expect to continue that to continue. And there's baseball as well. I have one best bet tonight. It's the only game I have. I just made one selection in baseball today, and you can get that at WagerTalk.com as well.
DC99 is the coupon code. Guess that's for Dave Koken. Check him out, guys, WagerTalk.com. Also, Brian Leonard on the show over the last 4 seasons, #1 MLB handicapper at WagerTalk. Brian, happy Thursday morning to you.
Same to you. Similar to Dave, I've got one play up in baseball tonight, one play up in hockey. And those are the only 2 I've got up right now. And hopefully we can give you some winners on the show.
Hopefully we can. Guys, we're breaking down 4, and we got best bets at the end. First here on the East Coast, Fenway. We're heading to Fenway here in the Northeast. Boston is hosting Oakland, 7:10 start here. This could be on MLB Network, depending where you're watching. Sean Manaea and Garrett Richards going at it here. Dave, Manaea, the lefty. We're seeing 9, the total, and pretty much a pick-em price here now, as seeing -105 available on both sides here in Fenway tonight. Dave, you interested in the Red Sox and A's?
A little bit. Oakland, look, Manaea's been hot. Almost pitched a no-hitter last time out. Took it into the 8th inning. Eventually got a no decision in that game, but he's throwing the ball really well. 5 of his last 6 starts have been definite plus starts. Garrett Richards is coming around, though, for the Red Sox. His velocity's been fine. He was having some command issues early on, but does seem to be settling in. I think the Red Sox, it's kind of a big game for them. They want to avoid the sweep here at the hands of the A's. So I think there's a little bit of want on the Boston side. Maybe catching Oakland in the right spot as they wind up this road stop. So I'm going to lean to the Red Sox. It's again, I only played one game today, so there's nothing else I liked enough to play. But this was a game I definitely considered taking Boston, and they've still got some good numbers in some key categories here. Really solid across the board offensively. The only downside would be they haven't done much offensively the last week, but neither has Oakland for that matter. So might get a little lower scoring game here. I'm going to favor the Red Sox at the price. I think there's a little bit of value there, so we'll go with the Boston side.
Good stuff, Dave. And Brian, coming to you, I mean, 2 former first-rounders squaring off here. I'd like both of these pitchers, especially in their current form. One interesting note with Garrett Richards is he's given up 12 earned runs to the Baltimore Orioles and only 6 earned runs to everybody else. So maybe circle that next time he's facing the Orioles here, Brian. But interested in your take, A's and Red Sox tonight, Brian.
Yeah, he's faced the Orioles 3 times already this year. When I take a look at Boston, they've hit lefties at a WRC plus of 110 so far this year. And it's interesting. Normally your WRC plus 100 is like league average. Well, nobody's hitting this year. So it's probably more like a 95. So he's done very well against Oakland in the past. You take a look at his last 5 starts. He got 55 average game score, only 1 game below the 50 average. So he's had some success against the Oakland A's. And interesting for Sean Manaea, He's had one game over his last 5 against Boston in which he was better than the league average of 50. And that was in 2018 when he threw a no-hitter against these Red Sox. He had a 95. So he's had one great game against Boston. All the rest are either mediocre or worse. But that goes back to 2016, and he's a lot better pitcher now than he was at that point. I always like to take a look at the extra innings and the one-run games. Oakland's 2-0 in extra innings, 9-3 overall in one-run games. Considering they're down to their number 3 closer from where they started the season, they've been pretty lucky when it comes to the back of the bullpen. I, like Dave, didn't make my card, but I prefer the Red Sox here. Last game of the series, and they'd lost the previous 2 in low-scoring fashion. I prefer the Red Sox here. I think we're getting a little bit of value on them.
All right, second game up here, Brian. Staying in the AL East, which, by the way, if you haven't been looking, it's getting tight there in the AL East race. We got the Yankees and Rays next game up here. This also 7-10 MLB Network. We're seeing the Yankees now minus 128 favorites, total of 8 down in the trop here, Brian. We're seeing Taillon going for the Yanks and Rich Hill, your boy, Brian, going for the Rays. What do you think of tonight, Yanks and Rays?
Both pitchers pitching pretty well right now. The Yankees, a 121 WRC plus against lefties this year. They're only 4-5 on the season, but the pitchers must not have pitched very well in those games because they have hit very well. I talked about Rich Hill. I don't think Dave was on the show that day, but I've watched Rich Hill pitch, and he seems to be, for a veteran, he's one of those guys that if something bad happens behind him, he just loses it. And, if an error is made, he tends to lose his cool, and the next couple guys get hits, and he loses it faster than any veteran I have seen. But for the most part, Rich Hill's a good pitcher, and I'd like to have him on my team as long as he's healthy. When he's been healthy, he's been very good. Taillon is one of those guys that his last few starts have been pretty good, but he did play Detroit and then Washington, Cleveland. So Atlanta, a lot of teams that have struggled offensively, he's been going against lately. So don't know if I can completely buy into Taillon here. The Yankees on the season, as I mentioned, 4-5 against the lefties. They've been pretty good on the road, 9-7. Actually, Tampa Bay, 7-12 at home. They've been much better when they've gone on the road this year, just the opposite, 12-7. Kind of like the Yankees here a little bit, but I don't know if the price is there with what I want. I liked them. It's come down a little bit. If I got down to 120, I'd probably bet the Yankees. But at this point, the line is basically where I thought it would be. I don't see any value.
Yeah, good stuff on Rich Hill last time, Brian. I remember that in terms of being a veteran and kind of losing it. Locker room maybe might be an issue. But Dave, looking at Rich Hill, one thing, just looking at his past performances here with Kevin Cash, the Yankees aren't going to see him a third time through because he just doesn't go that long into games. He doesn't have that long of a leash. He's only gone 9 innings each of his last 2 starts, Dave. Granted, they were good starts, short appearances here. What are you liking tonight, Yanks and Rays, Dave?
I mean, the first thing you got to look at is the Rays' lack of offense. I mean, it's just bad. I've got 5 different categories here, and if you use 100 as the average, even though that might be a little high average this year, 93, 87, 99, 79, 54. They're not hitting at all right now. The Yankees are crushing left-handers. Hill has been a disaster second time through the order. I just think there's too many things on the Yankees here. Taillon's rounding into form. This guy was out of action for a long time. And I think there was some ring rust early, but he does seem to be coming on. I can't argue against the Yankees here. I don't like laying prices, so I didn't play the game, but you can make a good argument for putting the Yankees on the card tonight.
Sure, Dave. And guys, we will revisit this one in Best Bets. We got 2 games left, Asian baseball play, Best Bets at the end. If you're liking the content, please smash that like button, the thumbs up button there on YouTube. It does help us out. If you're watching on replay, feel free to leave a comment below. And huge shout out to the chat box joining us live here. Daniel, Jimmy Underwood, Mike Campbell, what is up? Nathan Cantor, also Bronx in the house from Alaska. So Alaska's watching live. Thanks for that, Bronx. Let us know in the chat box where you're watching from, what you're looking to bet tonight. That all works, guys. We'll get it out here to the watchers. Heading out west, at least most of the way to the West Coast for the next game here, Dave. Seeing the Marlins at the Diamondbacks. Miami Marlins, Arizona Diamondbacks, 9:40 Eastern start here. We're seeing the Marlins minus $1.25, minus 125, 8.5 being the total. Trevor Rogers versus Kelly here. Rogers might be one of the best pitchers a casual baseball fan just hasn't heard about, Dave. He is awesome. But what are you thinking here with the Fish and D-backs tonight, Dave?
And this is a game where you've got the big conflict with the pitching and the offense, because Trevor Rogers clearly has the edge over Merrill Kelly, and it's a pretty big edge. Looking at OPS in particular, first 2 times through the lineup, I mean, you got a substantial edge for Rogers. The problem is the Diamondbacks have the much better offense, particularly facing lefties. They've got some big numbers against southpaws this year, and they've been kind of a Jekyll and Hyde team. They go through stretches where they don't hit at all, and then they go through stretches where they just rake. And it looks like they might be getting back into rake mode again now that they're back at home. So it's a game that I had to toss out pretty quickly, because I don't want to go against Rogers, who's clearly the superior pitcher. But the Miami offensive numbers just can't compare at all with the Diamondbacks in this matchup. Those are games that I very quickly eliminate. And as much as I like Rogers, I certainly couldn't consider him as a road favorite here.
Sure, fair enough, Dave. And Brian, what are you thinking tonight, Fish and D-backs?
A lot of what Dave said. I wanted to play Arizona here, but the differential in starting pitchers is a little bit too big. Maybe it's something I'll get involved in the latter part of the game in live betting. It's interesting. Dave talked about Arizona against lefties. They're third in baseball at 126 WRC plus. But when you look at their records against left-handed starters, they're only 2-6 on the season. So those games, obviously their own pitcher hasn't performed very well in those contests. But yeah, Miami's a team right now. You go back and look at the last 5 games. They've scored 3, 3, 2, 1, and 2. I don't trust this Miami team offensively. I much rather like the Arizona offense, especially in this building. The line is close for me to play Arizona here, but I think the better way to look at this is in live betting. Once Trevor Rogers tires or is out of the game, I think I may go with something on Arizona here. And there's different ways to bet each and every game, and that's what we love. Dave plays a lot of the first 5 innings. I play the full games. You can bet first innings. There's different ways to skin a cat, as they say, which I hate that. Being a cat owner, I know Dave is too. I hate that saying, but we all know what it means. And it basically means that different ways to get around to what we need to do to make some money. And baseball is one of the best in that.
Sure. That's what makes the market. Guys, I was actually looking at this a little bit differently. I bet the Fish last night. I like Trevor Rogers, 1.89 ERA, 50 strikeouts already on the season. He's going to rack up the strikeouts again tonight, in my opinion. Plus the fact Merrill Kelly, yes, 5+ innings, 2 earned runs in each of the last 2 starts. I just think, like Brian and Dave said, the huge advantage in starting pitching goes to the Fish, and the fact that the bullpen advantage goes to the Marlins as well. The only thing that kept me off of it being a best bet here was, like Dave talked about, the Marlins struggling at the plate, number 23 against righties in MLB, according to WRC+. But then again, another nod here towards the Fish. The Arizona Diamondbacks just 2-7 their last 9, so not cashing tickets. I like the Marlins, but to each his own, I guess. We got last game here, Brian, the nightcap. Cleveland Indians, Seattle Mariners. Got to put the Indians on with you on, Brian. Minus 112. We're seeing the Indians right now. Talk about hot. 8-1 their last 9. Zach Plesac on the hill versus Gilbert here going for the Mariners. Brian, it took me a while to find him. This guy only has 27 starts in the minors, and he's already getting an MLB appearance here. He's making his MLB debut. If you read the press clippings, he's pretty good. Former first-rounder in 2018, making the step up from AAA to Coma. He only had 1 start at AAA, so this is his 2nd start since 2019. Kind of a tricky handicap here, but a lot of times these guys cash. What are you thinking, Brian?
Yeah, this is one of the games that I happen to like tonight. Neither team has really hit righties very well. They're both at 93 WRC plus. Gilbert, along with their outfielder that is making their debut today or tonight, 2 of the guys that Seattle fans have been waiting on for the last couple of years. The only problem is there's a lot of excitement, and there's a lot of excitement from the betting markets. The line has moved 20 cents. Cleveland, I believe, opened at 135, now down to like 115. A lot of excitement tonight in Seattle, and I'm going to watch this game. I'm excited to see this kid pitch. But as we have seen, the stepping up from AA, like you said, just the one AAA start going up to the major leagues, it takes time. Even Mike Trout, as great as he is, he wasn't good when he came up for the first time. And people are expecting him to come out and just blow away this Cleveland offense, which isn't hard to do, to be honest with you. Cleveland doesn't hit very well. They've only got 3 or 4 guys in the lineup that you can really trust. But I think all the hype from bringing in the outfielder and the starting pitcher here is made a little bit of value here on Cleveland. And I don't know if Zach Plesac watches these videos. In fact, I know he doesn't. But last time Dave and I talked about Plesac, I went out and said that I thought he was overrated, a short sample size. Well, he goes out and his last 2 starts have been incredible, 65 against the White Sox, 63 against Cincinnati. If you take away his starts against the White Sox this year, his game scores have been 54, 77, 60, and 83. He's just been terrific. And in fact, this is something a lot of people may not know. He's had 3 starts this year in which he left the game after 5 innings, 5, 6, 7 innings, without giving up a run. And you're getting him in this situation against a guy making his major league debut. Cleveland, as you mentioned, a hot team. I still think Cleveland's overrated at this point. But with this line, I don't see how you could play Seattle at this line. First of all, you lost 20 cents of value, and there's too many question marks for me for Seattle. Plesac's pitching great, and he's not pitching against the White Sox. And, last year he had a 2.28 ERA in 55 innings. He's been really good. I don't want to go against him. I prefer Cleveland in this game.
Great analysis, Brian, in this game. One thing I'll add to that, Dave, if you're looking to bet on Cleveland, both their closer and their setup man pitch back-to-back days, and their number 3, according to Fangraphs, pitched yesterday. So maybe look towards first 5. But, Dave, what do you like in the nightcap?
Well, talk first about Logan Gilbert, because this is the guy that Seattle's really excited about. And he was a first-round pick in 2018. I think he was 14th overall. Didn't pitch that year because he had to have toe surgery, and then he had mono as well. 2019, he went through 3 levels. I mean, he just skyrocketed. And they sent him out to AAA for his first start at that level this year, and he completely dominated in 5 innings. I don't think he'll go more than that here. I think this is a twice through the lineup type of situation for Gilbert. Get his feet wet. Good spot to do it against a team that doesn't really hit much. And that isn't, despite the fact that the Indians have been winning games lately, you look at their WRC plus over the last 7 days, it's 66. So they're doing it all with pitching, no offense at all. This is a very good team for him to break in against. The flip side, you got Plesac, and Brian already talked about him. I mean, you take out the 2 bad starts against the White Sox, and he's been sensational. And then he's had 3 starts against the White Sox, and the last one was good. So Plesac's facing a lineup that isn't very good. Seattle at home has a 77 WRC plus in the season, which stinks. I think the pitchers have a real good chance to dominate here. It's a low total, but to me, the under is the only way to look.
Yeah, I like that, Dave. And both top 10 bullpens as well. So chat box chiming in here. Abby, welcome in. Brian as well. AT, what is up to you? Thanks for joining us live, guys. Please smash that like button. We got best bets coming up. First, though, going to throw it over to the other side of the world here with Tokyo Brandon with his Asian baseball quick pick. Tokyo Brandon, take it away.
Thanks, Drew. Today's Asian baseball quick pick is in the Japanese MPB Baseball League. The Seibu Lions are traveling to Chiba to play the Lotte Marines. Ishikawa takes the mound for Lotte, while Takahashi takes the mound for Seibu. 2 pretty good pitchers. Takahashi's having a really good season, but he got knocked around by Lotte the last time he faced him back in April. And Lotte is just an extremely hot team right now. They have 2 players that were candidates for Player of the Week for the offense last week. I think Lotte takes care of business here. Lotte on the money line is the pick for today. That's all. Thanks, guys.
Tokyo Brandon liking Lotte on the money line. Guys, time for best bets. Check out Brian and Dave, WagerTalk.com, NHL, MLB. both available at the website. Brian, let's go to you first, man. Where are you looking for best bets tonight, buddy?
First of all, I'd like to thank Brandon. I sent him a text saying I'd like for him to move the camera a little bit so I could get more of those jerseys, because we could only see the top on the show, and he did, and I appreciate that. It's nice to see jerseys from other countries. We talked about this game earlier. I'm going to use Boston tonight. Basically, the situation of how they're hitting lefties and they're trying to avoid the sweep at home. Like Manaea, he's been really good, but his starts against Boston overall, other than that no-hitter, he struggled a little bit with the Red Sox. But I prefer Boston here. We're getting basically, it's a pick 'em right now, minus 105 either way. Considering the records are very similar, and Oakland's been more lucky when it comes to the one run and the extra inning games, I think we got some nice value here on the Red Sox.
All right, liking the Red Sox for Brian Leonard and Dave Koken. Check him out at WagerTalk.com as well, guys. Dave, what do you like for best bets tonight?
Quick mention again on the hockey special, $99 with the coupon code DC99 at checkout. That offer expires today. This is the last chance you can get this. It goes back to $149 tomorrow. You won't be able to use the coupon code, so take advantage of that. I've just had a dynamite hockey season, and I expect it to continue in the postseason. And I have a best bet in baseball going tonight as well. As for the best bet here in the show, I'm going to echo the sentiments of Brian. I think there's enough things that stack up in the Red Sox, including what appears to be some value at the price to support the home team at Fenway Park. So two best bets here on the show on the Boston Red Sox.
All right, liking the Red Sox twice here, guys. I'll change it up, staying in the AL East, though. We got the New York Yankees and the Tampa Bay Rays. Jamison Taillon, I'm going to back the Yankees here, minus 128. I actually think we get the better starting pitcher and the better bullpen here. Rich Hill, yes, he's been okay in his last two starts, but he's not going deep into games. And, guys, the Yankees have won 4 straight. The Tampa Bay Rays, one of the coldest teams offensively in MLB, just a 54 WRC plus the last 7 days. So we're getting the hotter team at just a minus 128 price tag. I'm on the Yankees tonight. So the recap for the best bets, and shout out to the chat box. Nathan joining us from Hawaii. Thanks for joining us early there in Honolulu. I'm on the Yanks minus 128, Red Sox minus 110 for both Dave and Brian there. So loading up on the Red Sox for best bets. And the Lotte team there in Asian baseball, quick, minus 110 for Tokyo Brandon. So that does it for best bets, guys. Please smash that like button. For Brian Leonard, Dave Koken, I am Drew Martin. We'll be back tomorrow, same time, same place, right here in the Wager Talk YouTube channel. Best of luck with your bets until then. Thanks for tuning in.
With a Wager Talk one-day power pass, you receive every play from every betting consultant for one full day at the ridiculously discounted price of just $149. What's better than spending the day watching and following a great slate of games? Watching, following, and winning those games. Get every Wager Talk expert and every game they release for that day.